Is it working? Oh my goodness. Always goes bad the first time. There we go. Live now. Cool. All right. Hey, it's a lot better. Look at that. Look at that problem solving, guys. Mad skills. Be jealous. That's funny. Well, let's get everyone back in here now. Yo, hey, Eric, I see you. Anyway, I was saying something. All right, how many chapters left in Whole Cake Island? Yeah, so there's a lot of shit that I feel like that needs to happen, like putting using your powers, relationship with the Vinsmoke family. Escape right now, just based on the tower collapsing, doesn't seem real. They need like a more permanent or a longer um, delay of some kind. They need to make distance between themselves and the Big Mom pirates. And so, yeah, I was like talking about how in order for them to escape, they have to go to both Capone's and the Strat ship. They have to make it through all of Big Mom's islands. So I honestly think the only way that they can feasibly escape at this point in time, if escape is really what they're going to do, is if Big Mom goes on a rage, right? Because if she does that, then that would provide them pretty much all the time that they would need, because the Big Mom pirates have absolutely no way of dealing with that, and that should be their number one priority. I mean, I still don't think the Strats are going to escape, but that would be the only way that it would happen, I feel like. And then even on top of that, you still have Pudding needs to do something. I feel like she hasn't been set up this entire time. At the very least, Oda needs to address her relationship with the Strides, because it's been going in that direction for the last 10 chapters, and it's kind of been ignored the last 4 chapters or so. So I see minimum of 880 is the end of Whole Cake Island, like including like the whatever setup leading into Wano. But I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. Some people say 2 chapters. We'll see. Yo, what up, white boy? White beard fanboy. Katakuri is a follower of Barto. Brain dead channels, yeah. I don't know, man. Salty still. Can't hear me. Oh my god. You guys can hear me, right? 875. All right, One Piece fan. I see you. Hey, thanks, OMACC650. Do I think the Mother Carmel story is over? No, I don't. I mean, there's got to be a reason, right? That Big Mom's done all this fucked up shit. Now, she's done fucked up shit while sane. I understand. But there's got to be a reason why this particular thing, like specifically her killing her own family and her killing Mother Carmel, she doesn't remember. And so, as far as like Carmel's story itself in the past, maybe we'll get more, maybe we won't. I'm kind of torn there, but I definitely think that she will play a role in the story, like her name itself or her existence in the past will have some effect on the story in the future. And I'm thinking that it's because Big Mom at some point will learn what it is that she did, which I still think would be a very curious reveal to her, for her to find out what exactly, eating her savior. That's next level fucked up. I got One Piece fan. Did world government destroy the Three Eyes tribe? I mean, it seems pretty likely to me, right? If you're worried about people reading the poneglyphs and you have a race that can just naturally do that, it seems like that they would pose a threat to your rules. Top 5 epithets, dude. As though I remember epithets like that. Bartolomeo the Cannibal. Surgeon of Death, Trafalgar Law. Those are all pretty good. I don't know. I don't want to spend time and think about it. What do you think Stussy's devil fruit is? I don't know. I haven't really looked too much into her, but there doesn't seem to be any clues. So unless I just want to make some shit up, like she got the unicorn fruit, like hashtag confirmed. Will Luffy meet his father in Wano or Raftel? I'm not a Mad Monk. Mad Monk is good as well, Sean. I'm not certain if the Strats are gonna go to the Reverie, or meet Dragon and Wano. I mean, I don't think that Dragon's gonna go to Wano. I think Dragon's gonna be at the Reverie. I think that's pretty much what everyone thinks, but You know, it seems the most likely, right? We've gotten this set up for like 400 chapters that Dragon was planning on bringing together all the revolutionaries for some huge event. And this, you know, and then so in like 820 or something like that, or maybe it was 803, he confirmed that now was the time to do that. And then we can see Ivankov in a cover story setting up some sort of like party in the Transvestite Islands, which I assume is where all the revolutionaries are going to meet up. Blackbeard obviously trashed the place in 820s, but I feel like Dragon didn't care because they had already planned on doing whatever it is that they plan on doing. And the revolutionaries are the biggest antagonists for the world government. So I think it would just make a ton of sense for the revolutionaries to show up in the Reverie. But the Wano and Reverie is supposed to be concurrent, pretty much, like roughly same time span as far as I'm aware. So unless the Straw Hats split and you have the Straw Hats like Luffy go into the Reverie while Zoro mans up in Wano, I don't see Dragon meeting up with Luffy and it's definitely not in Wano, but not anytime like in the next year of One Piece story, or not until after Kaido, I should say. Do I think Enel will hold on? Oh, we got a super chat. Look at that. Jaiquan X. I just want to give a little happy. You still going, bro? Do you think Chopper will have a big role in Wano being a zone? Things, Jaiquan. I feel like I'm pronouncing that wrong. Is it like Huaquan? Oh, make myself look foolish. Anyway, do I think Chopper will have a big role in Wano? I made a theory a really, really long time ago. That kind of like, it was about Wano possessing a miracle cure. The Sakura blossoms or whatever, because Hiruluk made a big deal about these Sakura blossoms being the cure-all, like panacea, I think is what he called it. And so from that perspective, you have Sakura, which is highly associated with Japan culture. Wano and One Piece is highly associated with Japan culture. So it makes sense for these Sakura blooms to be there. I think a lot of people also think that it's on, rather than Wano, it's in Kano Kuni, this particular thing. But it doesn't matter. It's just a theory. And so if there's going to be Sakura blooms, and it ties back to Hiruluk's story, I think you can be damn sure that Chopper would have a huge role. But if that's not a thing with just specifically zones, I don't see that being what puts Chopper over the edge of being relevant, because Chopper isn't a zone user. He's just a creep. Well, I mean, he is a zone user. That I just said something incredibly stupid. You guys record that, post him. He's just a creature, right? So like, unless he plans on joining Kaido's crew or Kaido tries to recruit him into his crew, I don't see it being a big deal. Panacea. Boy. Hey, we got another super chat from Roranoro-chan. Oh yeah, so we got a Discord that I'm not sure if it's ready to go, it's live yet or not. I've been talking to Pirate King Buggy about that. He set it up for me. But soon we will have a Discord for my channel where you guys can like talk to each other and connect and I guess piss around and troll and be cancerous. But yeah, I'll probably talk about it in a video. Other than this one, I actually have things set up and the link provided and stuff like that. But that's a thing that's going to be coming here pretty soon. And we got another super chat, man. You guys going ham on the super chat. You don't need to do super chat, guys. Keep that in mind. This is from Let's Get Cheesy. Do you think we will get Gear 4th variant or maybe a Gear 5th reveal within the next few chapters? Do I think so? Absolutely fucking not. Could it happen? Yeah, of course it could happen. Big Mom is here. Luffy is here. And Katakuri is here. Luffy got to travel all this distance up to get to Big Mom. The only way he's going to do that is if there's some major power-up. It's just blatantly clear. And so... this arc we just got Gear 4th in Dressrosa. We already got an alternative form of Gear 4th earlier in this arc. I don't think an alternative form as well is going to make up the distance between Luffy and Big Mom. So I still believe in what I said for the last it's been a year now. Big Mom's going to go into a rage. At this point the discussion is whether they escape or they help out the Big Mom Pirates. If they help out the Big Mom Pirates, they could earn some amount of respect. they might do after that point in time if pudding helps them manipulate memories of some kind. To maybe she manipulates Big Mom's own memory so that she forgets that the Straw Hats have done all the shitty things to her, so that they can just walk away, so that maybe they could come back to that territory later. Or maybe they earn enough respect for the Big Mom Pirates to feel indebted to them, so they help out with Kaido. That's kind of how I see it, but obviously we will see. A few chapters incoming. What do you think? So this is from Tala Abid. I fucked that one up. What do you think Shanks? Stop moving. What do you think Shanks' power level is now that we see the difference between Big Mom and Luffy? So like everyone wants to rank the Yonko, and you know even I did a video about it back when I thought that it was possible Big Mom, although a Yonko and essentially as strong as the other Yonko, might be slightly less stronger. At this point, it should be blatantly fucking obvious that all of the Yonko are incredibly over fucking powered, like ridiculously so. Big Mom, in my impression, and this isn't necessarily the case, is that Kaido is the strongest character right now in the story. Barely. So you have Big Mom and Kaido, and they would, like, you know how Akainu and Aokiji fought for 10 days to decide the winner? So after 10 days of fighting, Akainu won. So it's like, okay, Akainu is stronger. That's how I perceive the relationship between Kaido and Big Mom. After 10 days of fighting, Kaido would win. And Shanks would fall in the same general category. It's just, you know, like we tried our very best to downplay a Yonko, and now it should be very clear that they're pretty much the same. I missed a super chat. No. Quietly loud. Quietly loud. Oh, here we go. No, I read all that. Yeah, I don't know, man. Also, this is set up very poorly for super chat right now. So again, guys, don't do super chat unless you like absolutely feel like you have the need to, because my whole set, I don't stream enough for me to be good at this yet. There is a link to PayPal in the description that I can actually check, and those messages won't disappear over time or get scrolled down or whatever. That's where I would prefer, if you really want me to address something that you have to say and shout you out or whatever it might be, then do it there. But anyway, I see you quietly loud. Jaikwan X. Joyboy Theories from King Anime Rules. Where will the final war in One Piece take place? It's a good question. We don't really know. I mean, if I had to guess, I would guess either at one point or another on the Red Line, whether that be Reverse Mountain or Mary Joie and over Fishman Island. I would personally argue for over Fishman Island, but we don't know. What do you think of the Monet is still alive theory? I rep that theory. You know, people will be like, Monet dead, got stabbed in the heart, she's dead. And I get it. But then Trafalgar Law got shot how many times? Like 15 times? More? Probably more than that. Got his arm cut off. Still kicking. You have, this is another good example from Zoe. You have Nekomamushi and Inuarashi were literally crucified. Well, not actually crucified, but they were almost crucified. Had their limbs cut off and were hanging there for nearly a day, bleeding out, and they somehow survived. And also there was like impressions from the story that Nekomamushi also got stabbed by spears as well, on top of having a missing arm. So it's just like people just don't die. They don't die in One Piece. And then you know, history of One Piece itself, how many villains have officially died? And the answer to that question is maybe one, but more than likely zero. There's Mr. 13 from Alabasta, who it was kind of implied that he died. He was relatively not important. And then you got to go, we had thought that Bellamy died because there was implications that Doflamingo killed him, but then he appeared again alive. And then you got to go all the way to the Punk Hazard arc for when Monet and Virgo supposedly die. And I'm just, you know, a lot of people were like, okay, well, you know, it's the new world is an extremely dangerous place where anyone could die at any moment. And Oda is trying to emphasize that to us. But that seems to have died because nobody died in Dressrosa and nobody died in Zoe. And so we get into Whole Cake Island. This is sort of opening up that conversation again, but I just don't believe in death, so I don't believe Monet is dead. Hey, we got Scuba Steve, Joy Boy. Do you think that we will see Straw Hats go to space, fulfilling Frankie's dream of making the world's best ship that can travel any ocean? You know, I would believe in that if there was any implications that people viewed space as one giant ocean. But that's not really the case. But I mean, it could be. It could, like, I haven't actually done a video on space because this is such a hard topic to delve into. But space, I do believe, is important because we already know that you know, there's people that used to live up in space, and so my general impression is that of the people that used to live on the moon, some of them came down to the main planet and started, and you know, because resources or whatever had died on their home area. And so we know that's true for the winged people. I think it also might be true for the celestial dragons and the family D. Those are all potential people that could have come from the moon. I get it. But as for actually traveling to the moon, I'm not certain if there's, or space in general, I'm not certain if there's any need to actually do that. I mean, it could be the case, you know, One Piece in space, but I don't know. I feel like more it's going to be a history. It's going to be part of the history that we learn, but I don't necessarily believe that we absolutely need to go there, because what is there really to get other than history? And the history itself that we're looking for is supposed to be recorded on the poneglyphs. So unless there's a poneglyph in space, you know, people say Uranus is also in space. You know, it's possible, I suppose. But thanks for the donation, Scuba Steve. We got 410 people in here. What do you guys, you got better things to do than watch me ramble to myself and be awkward? All right, hold on. Okay, we cool. All right, so we got. Oh, I found your post, Quietly Loud. Do you think Big Mom had something to do with Luffy being taken out of Gear 4th after one hit, or was he tired? I'm glad that you brought this up. I was actually contemplating making a video on this because there seems to be a lot of thoughts on the topic, and I think it's worthy of discussion, but it's not overly important. But so we see Luffy attack Big Mom in Gear 4th, and Big Mom obviously like hockey's up. She prepares, but afterwards he just like all that, like his energy pretty much dies. And so there's a couple ways of looking at it, but a lot of people think, okay, well, did Big Mom actually steal Luffy's energy? And I really don't see any hints of that. She had her hand clasp and there was like fire looking stuff on it, but I don't know, it just might be intimidating because she all, like, in general has, using Prometheus and Zeus, fire and electricity powers. But more than anything, what this makes me believe is, you know, how much rest has Luffy actually gotten over the course of Whole Cake Island? What, like 30 minutes of sleep in Capone's base, and then he ate a bento box, maybe a little bit of food after that, maybe not, I kind of missed it, and then he drank some milk, right? And that's all he has to fuel him after he fought with Cracker for nearly like 12 hours, and then he fought the Enraged Army and got, well, actually he fought Sanji and got beat down, then he fought the Enraged Army and got beat down, then he was in prison tearing up his own arms, and then he was running around the castle for a bit, and then now we have the events in the actual tea party. I feel like my dude Luffy is really tired, and Gear 4th takes a lot out of him, so I'm not certain if all he had is just one punch really in him before it all broke, but we'll see. Good question, though. Is Judge the final villain of One Piece? From Spider Shot MC. Yeah, Judge is top 5. You heard it here first. We got Shaggy Howard. Joy Boy, seeing where the power difference is now, do you think by the end of the story, Luffy will be the strongest individual, or will he need lots of help in the end? That's a great question. Good question, Shaggy. I don't see Luffy being the outright strongest character, outright strongest individual, even by the end of the series. I say that as a bit of a caveat, right? He'll be like top tier, like Yonko level. That's the way that I view it. But I think that just like throughout the course of the story, and most stories in general, you often have to overcome an opponent that is stronger than yourself in order to beat them. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that interesting. So even if he defeats this person, I feel like a lot of it will have to do with willpower and his desire to succeed, which wouldn't necessarily make him the individually most strongest character in the stories. But he'll be incredibly strong. If he can take on Blackbeard, I see him Blackbeard having a legit fight. And we're assuming here that Blackbeard will have a third devil fruit, and at this point in time would be the strongest man in the world, considered to be the strongest man in the world. Luffy defeats him, then I guess that would make Luffy the strongest man in the world, if that's the case. But then there's got to be an enemy after. Maybe Blackbeard's an enemy. I don't know. We're getting into rambling territory. We'll find out. Not really. I guess I said something that was disagreeable. Big Joy Boy, do you think we will see Big Mom's downfall in Elbaf? A lot of people want to connect Big Mom to Elbaf, and I want to as well, because there's so much history there that I feel like needs to be settled. But how are we going to get Big Mom to Elbaf? So this is another thing I want to talk about, right? So there's a lot of different thoughts about how this will go. You guys heard the theory, the general thought that something that the Straw Hats will do here, essentially by saving the Big Mom pirates, they might become indebted to them and help out in Wano. A lot of people don't believe that. So if you don't believe that and you see the Straw Hats escaping, right? And assuming that Pudding doesn't do any memory manipulation whatsoever, we have to kind of assume that because it makes it more difficult to look into. Then Big Mom is mad at the Straw Hats, incredibly mad. And so if the Straw Hats run away to Wano and Kaido's territory, it's either Big Mom is going to go after their friends and family waiting for them to come back, which I don't think is the Straw Hats can allow. Like, I'm just going to go ahead and kill Zeph and all the people in Kokuyashi village, and I'm just going to kill everyone that you ever knew until you get back here and finish this. So that doesn't seem real. So it seems more likely that if Big Mom stays angry at the Straw Hats after the conclusion of Whole Cake Island, the only way to stop her from killing everyone that you know is for her to actually follow them and chase them all the way to Kaido's territory, which would kind of set up Big Mom versus Kaido, because the Straw Hats most certainly cannot defeat both Kaido and Big Mom in the same arc. Like Zoro even talked about that in the Zou arc, where he was like, Luffy, you can't go to Whole Cake Island right now. Sanji already fucked up. By doing that, you're putting us in a clusterfuck situation where we have no win. And so then if Big Mom and Kaido are going to be enemies in the Wano arc, then the only way to settle that conflict is if somebody can actually take on Big Mom and or Kaido, which would only be themselves. Like they're the only people that could do that. So then how would you get from Big Mom attacking Kaido and Wano to Big Mom arriving in Elbaf? And then we assume that Luffy's got to actually be the one to defeat Kaido, and if he's the one to defeat Kaido, that means Big Mom is the person to defeat Kaido. So I'm failing to rationalize how exactly we can reach Elbaf, but I hope that it happens. Missed another super chat. Yay. Hold on. We got this. I got a super chat from Pro Zypher. Official One Piece site confirmed Monet is dead. Dude, okay, those arguments irritate me, and they only irritate me because of the saltiness of history within the One Piece community. There was, I don't know if you guys remember, Sabo being alive or not was actually at one point in time not fact. It was a theory. And the evidence within the story highly justified the fact that Sabo was definitely alive. Like, no doubt about it. You read the story, you put all the clues together, Sabo is clearly alive. Like, Dragon picked him out of the ocean, and then arrived on a ship and was like, oh, who's that person? You know, it's like, it's fucking obviously Sabo. And then there was even more evidence after that when we saw in Ace's grave there was 3 sake cups. And who would know to put 3 sake cups in front of Ace's grave? Assuming that Luffy didn't do it and Ace is dead, well, it must have been Sabo. Therefore, Sabo is definitely alive. And the people who did not believe in this theory, this was their evidence. In One Piece Databug Green, it was officially confirmed that Sabo was, in fact, dead. That was their argument, which seems oddly very similar to your argument that your official One Piece site confirmed Monet is dead. A lot of this is fan-run. It's not created by Oda, and they use the impressions that we have of the story. So like they're not theories per se. It's like this is, as a reader, what you should be expecting at this point in time based on what's obviously revealed. And at this point we should expect that Monet is dead. But Oda has yet to address that. And I very much doubt that One Piece website, the official One Piece website, is run by Oda or his editors for that matter. But I don't know. We'll see. This argument, there's really no win to arguing this whatsoever because some people believe it's official and some people don't. And then we have I hope this doesn't become a Monet is alive or dead stream. Like I don't care. I don't care. I'm just saying that characters in One Piece don't die. Villains don't die. It's out of place at the moment that Monet is dead, so that is why I think that she is alive. That's also why I think that Dufel didn't die in the last chapter. Time will tell, especially if all the characters in Whole Cake Island survive after this arc, then you'll hear me continue to say I don't think characters die. But if all of these characters end up dying in Whole Cake Island, I might revise the way that I think about it. But based on my headcanon, characters don't die, therefore Monet must not be dead. But we're going to stop talking about Monet because I really don't care. Yeah. This will be uploaded to YouTube afterwards. Actually, probably have to go delete that other video that I made, which is probably on already. Yeah, 30 seconds of me with muffled voice. Delete. Delete. Give me a second, guys. Private. All right, so we got another question from Tarvish. How does Will Vivi be brought back into the story? I mean, that's another good question. So this is something that I wanted to make a video on a little bit in the past, but I never got around to doing it, and now is not a good time to reintroduce it. But there were, less so now, events that pulled the Straw Hats in two separate directions at the same time, right? So first of all, Kaido and Wano is important. It's been emphasized, and even more so in the recent chapters, that they don't want to take out Big Mom, that they want to go and take out Kaido. But on the other hand, you have this reverie, which is supposed to happen here sometime in the near future. You have Shirahoshi, who's going to the reverie, and we know that Caribou knows that Shirahoshi is the ancient weapon Poseidon and has potentially told that to somebody who is relevant. So it's possible Shirahoshi actually gets attacked in the reverie. And then you have Vivi going to the reverie, and Alabasta and Drum Kingdom and all these places that are friends with the Straw Hats. And I think it's definite that the Straw Hats are going to be a huge topic of conversation in the reverie. And in doing this, in talking about this, and potentially even saying that you believe that Straw Hat Luffy isn't a man worthy of a bounty and who does a lot of good, which is they might actually end up saying, that could put them at odds with the other countries within the world government. And then also Cobra revealed in chapter, it was 823 or 24, something like that, that he planned on discussing certain things to the world government at the reverie. I assume it was over the lost history, which is totally taboo and could put them in danger. And then obviously you have the potential that the reverie, the revolutionaries show up at the reverie as well. So and then also in the past as well, Big Mom, there was implications that Big Mom might actually attack Fishman Island, which is below Mary Joie and the reverie. So there was a bunch of things that could pull the Straw Hats to the reverie. But if the reverie and one are going on at the same time, that can't happen. Anyway, I hope I answered your question. I totally forgot it at this point. Saying just random information. You're welcome. Luffy versus Deku. Luffy would win. We got Yada in the chat. Is Dritz here? Hey, Dritz is here. You are forgiven. Thank you. Thanks, Yhel. Yell. Stussy Awakening. We don't even know if she has a devil fruit. Favorite villain from Patience. That's a tough question. I'd have to say Gadatsu. Gadatsu is my favorite. I'm 100% seriously. Gadatsu is my favorite villain. That dude is fucking hilarious. Gadatsu-sama, Gadatsu-sama. You have to open your eyes when you're wanting to look for something. It gets me every time. Either that or probably the coolest one would be Doflamingo, but that's an easy answer. Ooh, we got a super chat. We got a couple of super chats. Hopefully I didn't. If I'm forgetting any super chat, guys, get on me on that. So we got a super chat from Bwizzle Knox. Theory: Kaido eats people and he has multiple fruits. Yeah, I mean that's a common theory, right? Even if it's just a bunch of smile fruits. I think One World HC RIP. One of the best theories that he made was that Kaido ate 1,000 smile fruits, and then when you're looking at the anime coloration of Kaido's tattoo, it's the exact same coloration that they made for smile fruits. So it could be. As far as him eating people, I mean, seems kind of redundant with Big Mom having eaten people in the past, but it could be possible. He's big enough, right? Just got to pop some people. I got quietly loud again with a $2 donation. Thank you. He says, "Is Momo is lying about his age and is really a man?" I don't know if he's lying, but I think he might be confused. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's from like theories I made a long time ago. In the Zoe arc, he essentially said that, "Oh yeah, Goldie Roger, I remember that dude." And so I think the community is split in two places. Like on one hand, people think he was talking about Ace, that he confused Goldie Roger for Ace, and I think that makes some amount of sense. But on the other hand, people are like, maybe this is some kind of clue that Momo is actually much older than he appears to be. And I made theories that potentially, and crazy, this is like tinfoil hat territory, but I think it's surprising how much sense it makes when you think about it. That potentially he was the dragon in the egg on Goldie Roger's ship. If you ever see like Goldie Roger's ship, there's this odd egg-looking thing, and on merchandise as well, it's also there. And we don't know where that egg went. And so if that egg was given to Odin, who was a member of his crew, then could have hatched into Momonosuke. And then Momonosuke being in the egg on Goldie Roger's ship would have experience knowing Goldie Roger. But yeah. I mean, I believe in that quietly loud. I believe. But we'll see. It's in that crazy territory. We got a super chat from Domenico Rizzoli Jr. With $20 donation. Thank you so much, dude. That's crazy. Yo, Joy Boy, did you come up with a final name for? Oh, this already. This is a dude who reads the comments. I appreciate you. Did you come up with a final name for your subs? Also, when do you believe NL Inaru will come back? Think it'll be an addition to an arc, or will his return be the start of a new one, in your opinion? So as for a final name, there was like somebody created that comment, and I pinned it to see what people's ideas are. But just to give like a name for everyone that's part of the group, like PewDiePie has like the Bros or something like that, and, you know, like House of Joy is some of the ideas that were out there. But I'm not sure if I like that completely. I'm mulling it over. It's something that I'm thinking about. I usually act pretty slowly, so we'll figure it out. But as for NL, I do think NL will come back at some point in time. There's always, so when we have cover stories, and NL had his own cover story, the cover stories always tie back into the main story in some way. And so in NL's case, you could argue that with the part of it that will tie back into the main story is the history itself that he learned from the moon, that there was like people used to live up there. That could be it. But I'm of the opinion that not only does this information, but he himself has to reappear in the story. Like if you, Buggy had his own cover story. He appeared in the story. Garp was training Kobe and Helmeppo. They reappeared back in the story. Lucci recently reappeared back in the story after his cover story as a member of CP0. There's a bunch that I'm forgetting. Crocodile was in Impel Down along with Mr. One. And we got to see the cover story of how everyone other than Bon Clay, Crocodile, and Mr. One escaped Impel Down. And then obviously they themselves reappear back in the story after Alabasta. But I definitely think he'll come back. But as for the circumstances for, you know, which arc or would it, I don't think it would be an arc by itself. Villains, we've never seen a repeat villain. So I wouldn't argue that at this point. But anyway, great questions. Got another super chat from Samsung Habiti. I'm sorry. Yo, Joey boy. Do you think Sanji's leg could break soon? I don't know, but I feel like it's been foreshadowed in the fight against Virgo and the hit on Kuma. It could be. That's a pretty legit thought. I mean, there has been an absurd emphasis on his leg. But I feel like at this point it would have healed. I don't know, man. Great question. So now we got Vane. Will Oda have a backstory for Kaido? 100%. He has a backstory for the most minor characters. Of course he's going to have a backstory for Kaido. I mean, like going back to Senor Pink, who had a ridiculously fleshed out backstory, and Oda never actually intended for that backstory to be included in the story. So obviously he would have a backstory for Kaido, and we would get it in the story. Strongest creature, strongest thing. There's a reason. And we got a super chat from Alejandro Perez, who says, best place to read manga. So this is kind of a dodgy area, but obviously if you have the money to support a series that you like, you should always go and support that series. The way that I look at it is, if you don't really have the money to go out and spend, and buy manga, right, then it doesn't really matter whether you read it illegally or not, because you wouldn't have bought it, because it doesn't work that way. But if you have the money, you should always buy it. Anyway, with that clarified, I read newest content usually on Manga Stream or Jai Mini's box. And for manga, like for older chapters of manga, I usually check out Kiss Manga, which I hate that site, but they do it the best, because you can, instead of going page by page, you can actually make it so that you can see all of the entire chapter at one time, scroll down very quickly. So I like it better that way. And then there's, if you're looking for colored One Piece chapters, it's I think it's My Manga Online, and you look for digitally colored chapters. But always support the manga that you like, if you have the money to do so. Put it that way. And so we got Scuba Steve with $5 donation. Thank you, bro. Just because I love your content. I appreciate it, dude. I really, it's been a long time. It's been over a year of me essentially dogging to my computer about One Piece. It's crazy to think about. It's that level. It's when you reach that level of obsession that it's unhealthy, but you say fuck it. And I missed one. Where we going? I'm pretty sure I missed a super chat. No? Oh, yeah. So we got a super chat from Quietly Loud with another $2. Dude, crazy that you continue to donate. Like, nobody needs to donate. It's not necessary. You don't need to do it. Will Zoro be the first to take down Kaido? Be honest. Zoro would take down Kaido. That's one of those questions where it's hard not to be rude, but in short, no. No, Zoro's not taking down Kaido. Got another super chat from BT Ultimate 098 for $5. Thank you so much, dude. I'm sorry if you've answered this already, because I just got here, but do you plan on making a theory video about how the Straw Hats will reach Yonko level? That seems like a really general theory, though. It's like, I mean, it could happen in a number of ways. I mean, first off, so I would say, in short answer to answer your question, no, I was not planning on doing it, but we'll discuss it here. They need a grand fleet, a fleet and crew that would rival a Yonko. And so we've seen Big Mom's crew. That's a Yonko's crew. Straw Hat crew is currently nowhere near that level, even with a grand fleet. So they need to improve their numbers. That's why I think that Marco and his crew, if Marco survives, or whoever lives from the Whitebeard Pirates, they will all join the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. We got the Minks in there. We got the Samurai in there. We got potentially, I think that, well, actually, we're just going to skip that. But I think there's some possibility that the Big Mom Pirates, the crew itself, not Big Mom, end up joining Luffy's Grand Fleet. So that's how you increase your sort of like numbers, which is important when facing a Yonko. And then obviously you have to increase your actual individual strength. And so Luffy would need like Gear 5th, Awakened Devil Fruit, whatever that might be, to get on that level. We have no idea. And then I think each individual trial will get their various increases, but you don't need them all to be overwhelmingly powerful. And I think most of the strong characters like Jinbei and Zoro and Sanji and, you know, Brook and those characters will get some kind of upgrades as well. But anyway, good question. Hey, I appreciate it. So I got another donation from Let's Get Cheesy. Appreciate it so much, bro. He didn't actually ask a question. So we got Whitebeard. This is the second time I've said that. Whitebeard fanboy, who's been here for a long time, FYI. Has any arc after the time skipped reached your top 5? I would say no. I would say no. It's kind of a controversial topic because as somebody who produces One Piece content and loves One Piece, clearly, you want to be a fanboy at all points in time, especially, you know, you don't want people thinking, oh, okay, well, he's just like a bandwagoner, or he's, you know, he's why you cover this series if you don't like it. I love One Piece, but several, specifically Dressrosa, was just the arc had many really good elements, but the arc as a whole was poorly constructed, poorly paced. I think Oda bit off more than he can chew with the introduction of the Grand Fleet, and he felt the need to give them limelight when at that point in time we didn't care about them in the story. So a lot of us viewed the chapters that they were actually fighting as not interesting chapters. And then you have this dragging out of them reaching Doflamingo, and then after they actually beat Doflamingo, then you have this dragging out of, or Luffy ran Gear 4th. Luffy in Gear 4th initially beat down Doflamingo, then it ran out, and there was this awkward countdown, and a lot of people didn't like the Tontata that very much, and Rebecca was annoying, so I didn't like Dressrosa that much. As far as Punk Hazard, I thought it was a good arc. I thought it was a pretty average One Piece arc. I enjoyed it, as I enjoy all One Piece, but nothing about it really stood out as being, okay, this is one of the best arcs in the series. Fishman Island, I actually enjoyed a lot more than people usually like Fishman Island. I think people don't like Fishman Island because there wasn't really a main villain in that arc that was truly intimidating, especially after reaching the New World. But I don't think that was the point of the arc. So I really enjoyed Fishman Island, but I don't think it cracked my top 5. Whole Cake Island, Zoe would be in my top 5, probably, just because of the amounts of information that was revealed and the twist. I love the twist. The twist will get me every single time. But it was so short. It's hard to put an arc that was that short in your top 5 when you have arcs such as Water 7 and Enies Lobby. I often put them together, by the way, because it's like the same arc. Water 7 and Enies Lobby for me is one entire arc. Impel Down and Marineford. The Arlong Park arc I loved a lot because of the feels. And also at that point in time, it was really the huge jump in opponent. Let's see. Alabasta as well. Alabasta kind of dragged on a little bit in the past, but the finale of Alabasta was just so good. You got to put it in your top 5. And then Whole Cake Island really is the only one that would compete for a top 5 spot, in my opinion. But the arc's not over yet, so it could completely tank or it could rise. We don't know at this point. Got a donation from Domingo Rizzoli Jr. Again, bro, we give cash because we don't want those booty ass reading videos. Hey man, my reading skills, like you guys don't even know. I don't record, I don't write scripts for my videos. So you see like a lot of that like and shit like that is because I'm just talking to my computer. But you know, if you know, reading, man, it's that next level. You guys aren't prepared for how good of a reader I am. I feel like I missed a super chat. Maybe not. All right, we're good. Who else will die this arc? Again, I don't believe in deaths, but if anyone does die, of all like the signs, Pedro and Jinbei concern me a lot. Not that I think Jinbei can actually die before he becomes the 10th member. In fact, I don't believe anyone dies, but those would be the 2 characters with my perception of death signals. Those 2 characters have them. So we got a comment from JPT. Joy Boy. Aside from weekly One Piece chapter, I'm also looking forward to your reaction, thoughts, theory videos every chapter. I appreciate it, dude. Big Mom versus Katakuri. Why would you think that would happen? I mean, well, actually, it could happen if she rages, but I still think Big Mom would definitely win. Big Mom, Katakuri, Luffy. Judge should die. A lot of people think Judge will die. I'm not certain if I understand completely why, but I mean, I suppose it could happen if you believe in deaths again. We'll just wait there. I don't feel like beating a dead horse here. Do I take wiki page requests here? Haha! You guys are so funny. Panda Man will die. No! Why you gotta play with my feelings like that? Do you think Mihawk is part of Shank's crew from Brett Dieterman? No. No, I think Shanks has always been a rival of, or Mihawk has always been Shank's rival until Shanks lost his arm. Basement nerd. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Kaido versus Akainu. You know, so you keep hearing this, and you're hearing it even more now. You have a lot of people that are saying Yonko are by far the strongest people in the world, stronger than everyone else, stronger than CP0, stronger than the admirals, and I'm not sold yet. I think Kaido and Akainu would be a pretty good fight. Aha, PayPal. Thank you. Nothing is updated on PayPal yet. Anyway, we'll get back to it. If it's there, it'll load up. If not, it'll never appear. Joyboy theory is, why would the world government recognize Germa as a kingdom and allow them to attend the reverie if they were responsible for their downfall? Well, I don't think the world government gives a fuck, to be honest with you. I think that 300 years ago, they probably defeated Germa, and then at some point in time, their judge, or maybe his father or someone like that, resurrected the Germa 66 presence. And at that point, it was lucrative for the world government to have them affiliated with that organization, especially because of the science that they possess. I really don't think the world government cares for justice whatsoever. I think that they just want to make connections and envelop strong. They want to rule the world, and in doing so, they want to be connected with all of the strong individuals within the world. So it's not necessarily out of the question for them to defeat somebody in the past, or be a part or defeating someone in the past, and then after time recruit them later. That doesn't seem out of the question to me. But good question. It's a good point. One Piece is real. Vivi versus Rebecca fight over Luffy and Reverie. What? Who is your favorite villain in One Piece? I actually answered that a little bit earlier, but it's Gadatsu and Doflamingo. What do you think will happen to Zoro Wise and Wano? I think that would be Zoro's arc. Lots of things could happen. It's really too much to get into. I'll probably make a video about that at some point. Expectations for Zoro and Wano. Joyboy, do you think it's possible that the Tamate Bako box we have been seeing in the Whole Cake Island is a fake? No, I don't. We already knew what the contents of the Tamate Bako was. It was the drugs, and they lined that. There's no reason for them to lie. They lined it with explosives, and then the box falls and it explodes. If the box hadn't exploded, then I would say, okay, maybe this is a fake. But since it exploded, it seems incredibly likely to be the real deal. Got a comment from Ray and Mick reports. Man, you guys need to have names I can actually pronounce. Seriously. And I just lost it. Rip. That's why you don't hold down. Well, Guess he got a shout out, and I'll never read his comment. Oh no. What do you think Pudding is doing now? I think she's grappling with her feelings because she seems so uh, just like, on one hand she should do as what she's told, but on the other hand, these people are like the only people that see her sort of true nature. And I don't know, maybe she's off in a corner right now crying, trying to figure out what it is that she wants to do. But I don't see her at this point in time doing anything subversive. Itachi versus Inaru. Itachi would win. Inaru doesn't have hockey. Of course he would lose. Oh, sorry. Armament hockey. What do you think? We'll get this eventually. Got one from King Anime Rules. Will Bonnie join the Straw Hats? Probably not. But I think that the Supernova will all, at the end of the story, end up underneath the banner of the Straw Hats. So you know how like Whitebeard had the Whitebeard Pirates, and then he had like affiliated ally crews, which I assume weren't part of the Whitebeard Pirates. And there was 16 division commanders of the Whitebeard Pirates. I see the Supernova being like Whitey Bay of Whitebeard, as like we're sort of allies and we'd help each other out. This is obviously by the end of the story, but I don't think she would join it. So we got a comment from Scott Wagner. Judge's mask broke last chapter, hinting eyebrows. Sanji power up. So yeah, a lot of people made a big deal about his mask breaking, but honestly, it felt like a tease for me. I didn't really feel like there's anything to say because we're left exactly where we were previously. We expect to see at some point in time his forehead. Now this seems sooner rather than later, but what is it exactly? I think there's two ideas that I would really put above any other idea that I've heard. And that's, on one hand, Judge's eyebrows are the same as Sanji's, which is not what I believe in, but could be interesting. And number two, Judge does not have swirly eyebrows. If Judge doesn't have swirly eyebrows, we know that Sora, Sanji's mother, didn't have swirly eyebrows. Then why do all the kids have swirly eyebrows? And it goes back to an SBS that Oda addressed like a really, really long time ago. That's a reader pointing out the similarities between Sanji's swirly eyebrows and the swirls on the devil fruit. And basically Oda said some shit about his like soul, his heart burns. Oh no, they asked him why the heat from his leg didn't burn him. And Oda was like, well, his heart burns far hotter than that. And then when asking about his eyebrows, Oda essentially dodged the question. I actually have to look it up. But anyway, the thought is out there that Judge, knowing how to manipulate lineage factors, could potentially manipulate the children's lineage factor so that they have elements of devil fruit. Or that perhaps they are something like a living devil fruit. Like if you take something like a zone devil fruit, let's say a bug zone devil fruit, like a beetle fruit, and you take a person and you give them qualities of a beetle. And so when you consume the beetle devil fruit, you can transform into a beetle. But then when you take qualities of a beetle and it incorporates in your DNA, what's the real difference between those two things? And at this point in time, there's really not. I mean, it could be the same thing is what I'm trying to say. And so in that sense, perhaps the swirl indicates is what happens when something's becomes. We're just gonna move on from this point because it gets really confusing. But long story short is potentially the brothers are part devil fruit. Hey, we got Quietly Loud with the $20 donation, dude. You don't need to do that, but I appreciate it. Does Luffy have to 1v1 all Yonko to be Pirate King, or does he find OP, be crowned king, then take down world government? Got to read that one again. Does Luffy have to 1v1 all the Yonko? Okay, no. Keep in mind, Roger was friends with Whitebeard, took the Poneglyph, Big Mom, yep. So I completely agree with you, 100%. A lot of people say that Luffy has to defeat all of the Yonko, including Shanks. There's just, in my mind, there's no way Luffy and Shanks could have a serious battle. It doesn't make sense to me. But on top of that, you don't need to defeat all the Yonko, really. You just have to be acknowledged as the greatest pirate. You're put on a pedestal above all other pirates. When the world talks about you, when they talked about Goldie Roger, it wasn't because Roger straight up beat Whitebeard. In fact, they were equals in battle, or straight up beat Big Mom, which is stated that he kind of entered her territory and then got the fuck out of there. No, he's the best pirate in the eyes of the world. And so that's really all Luffy needs to do. And I think that he's done a lot of things to get him up into that level, like first person ever to break in and break out of Impel Down and attack all 3 major judiciary islands of the Marines. So I don't think he needs to defeat all of the Yonko. Now it may end up happening, but I don't think it's necessary. But anyway, good question. Great question. I feel like I missed a super chat. Aha, here we go. So we got another super chat from Larry Cottle for $5. Thank you so much, bro. Do you think we will ever see the shadows that had Skypian wings and were 100 times bigger than giants that appeared before the Skypiea arc again? No, I don't think so. I literally think that was the foreshadowing setup for the Skypians, that the way that the light worked or whatever and cast on the shadows below, that was in fact Skypians. What's more interesting is the denizens of the Florian Triangle that appeared at the end of the Thriller Bark arc. Those would be the mysterious creatures that I think that we will definitely have a better understanding of in the future. But good question. Got a comment from Brandon Stevens 37, Joyboy Theories. Could it be that they were brought there by the Sky People when they migrated to the One Piece planet? I'm not sure who they is in this context. I must have missed something. Got a comment from Whitebeard Fanboy. Do you believe that the current Yonko are on par with the world government? I think if you take all 4 Yonko, not one Yonko, all 4 Yonko, they are greater than the world government, I think, with their crews. Essentially, if you take all of the pirates in the world of One Piece against the world government, the pirates would win. But as for individually, we saw Whitebeard versus the Marines, and although it might have seemed equal, it really wasn't. It really wasn't. Maybe so. Yeah, that's really my thoughts there. I mean, maybe it could be like 2 Yonko for world government. It's hard. It's the power level scaling is so difficult that I try to avoid it at all costs most of the time. Judge could have a 3rd eye. That's interesting. I mean, there could be something that we can't predict. It's Ichiro fucking Oda. Like shit happens all the time that you couldn't like going back to the Zoe arc where Momonosuke was able to control Zunisha. That's just one of those what the fuck moments that we love, but there's just no way really to accurately predict that. So it could be something crazy as well. Always should keep that possibility in mind. And we've been going for what? Over an hour now? Hold on, I'm going to check PayPal again. Give me 1 second. Don't donate to PayPal. I'm going to keep it there, but don't do it because if somebody said that they donated, this also happened last time, but I never got any of those. So even like a year later. So we're just going to ignore that again. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But anyway, that's annoying though. But if I do get any questions on my PayPal or whatever, I'll make sure to specifically make a video about it, as I said last time that happened. But anyway, we got another question. This one from Gil D for $5. Thank you so much, man. Judge stated his dreams are dust. If he lives, do you think he will give humanity to his children since he got screwed by Big Mom, or start from square one? I think that the events of this... It's so hard to be speculative and also agree to what everyone else is thinking. But I personally believe that Ichiji and Sanji are still going to have a conflict in Whole Cake Island, despite the fact that people think it's going to end in the next couple chapters. But in order, if something like that happens, then it could inspire Judge to change Germa. But as far as his dreams go, he can still carry on after this arc, assuming that he doesn't die. So then from that sense, he doesn't really need to start from square one because he still has Germa army. He still has, superpowered children. Like a lot of death would need to take place in order for his dream to actually be dust. But then again, we got to look as is his dream really something that should be supported? Especially the way that he plans on going about it. If Judge really wants to reestablish his name in the North Blue, then might be better for him to actually ally with the Straw Hats, be another force that would be in alliance with them. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to die, but some change needs to happen, in my opinion. Got a question from Ignax Dark. If Blackbeard can absorb the soul of a devil fruit, could he manipulate a person's soul to turn them evil, like Shanks or someone? Shonen logic, yeah. I mean, it could be. It's I don't know. I'm not the kind of person who would speculate something that has no basis, and that's one of those things that I feel like would have no basis. Blackbeard's fruit essentially acts like gravity, so he can pull things within him. But then that doesn't mean that he can manipulate someone's soul. And specifically, what is he going to do? Take out the good portion of their soul and then leave the evil portion there? So just not something that I would really be, I'd put my name behind as a speculation, but it's a cool idea. Got a comment from Obero. Not sure if someone else commented this, but do you believe that CP0 will show up at the tea party since Stussy is there? Well, I think CP0 will show up at the tea party because Stussy is there. But that aside, I mean, I think at this point in time, there was this big deal made about the communication jammer. And I think that it was associated with the tower. But now that the tower's gone down, the communication then can be resumed. So then Stussy, if she manages to make it out of this, would be able to communicate with the world government. And so if Big Mom is in a disadvantageous situation, like she probably is already with a lot of her subordinates taken out, her island kind of in ruins, many of her strong fighters at least tired, then this could be an opportunity for the world government to act and try and take out Big Mom. But how quickly could they get there or not, I'm not exactly certain. Anyway, I hope that answered your question. We got another donation from Alejandro Perez. Thank you so much, bro. Chapter 869, Sanji carries Nami, and it looks like they got romantic. Getting a little hot and spicy. Pudding's reaction to seeing this tells me yes. Do you think Sanji is tipping his ladle in Nami's pot? Goodness gracious, dude. So first off, okay, they didn't have a romantic moment. I actually saw this. I think it was from Arter of Aura Jackson, but maybe it's from someone else. But if you actually look at the panel from 869, Sanji is looking down at Nami, and he's super happy to have caught her. Nami is not looking back at Sanji. She's actually looking off in the distance. And when you compare it to other panels, it's pretty clear that Nami was looking at Luffy, while Luffy was looking at Nami and being happy, while Sanji was looking at Nami. So no, there's no ladle and pot action, I don't think, going on here. More interestingly, though, I do think Pudding was jealous of Sanji catching Nami. But good topic to bring up. Come on, man. Also, sorry for being so cringy, but it is what it is. Got a comment from the Kinney33. Ooh, could be. Aha. You're right, Kinney. Good job. Look at that. Helping me out. So we got a message from Kinney, who says, "Hey, Joy Boy, some think Trophy is going to betray Luffy at some point in time. What do you think about this? And what will happen to the alliance after Wano?" And I appreciate all the love, bro. So I made the video. This was so there's two videos. Well, there's like 3 or 4 videos that I made that people, for the most part, have not liked. Most of those being like top 5 videos. But of my actual theories, one of them was Trafalgar Law betraying Luffy. But I do believe that at some point in time, like the way that the relationship is set up right now, there needs to be some evolution in it, because it's very clear that at this point in time, Law does not view this as a friendship. Law views this as a short term. This is what I need to do in order to accomplish my objectives. And so clearly there needs to be more added to that. And it could be that Law comes to the conclusion, even after they take out Kaido, that in order for him to achieve his dreams, Luffy then must go back to being an enemy. But as with all ally enemy situations in One Piece, Luffy will eventually win them over to his side, like in full. Like whether it be like Usopp leaving the crew for a short while, or Robin, or whatever, or Law potentially deciding Luffy is an enemy and fighting him. At the end of the day, Luffy will be the king of all the pirates and lead everyone, for the most part. But after their alliance in Wano, that I mean, I think I discussed that, but it's either something in Wano, like the defeat of Kaido, inspires Law to become a member of the Grand Fleet, or straight up like this is alliance friendship level, or that happens in the sometime after that, when Law essentially in the short term cuts ties with Luffy. Hope that answers your question, and thanks so much for the donation. Going back to YouTube. Got a comment from... Oh, did I already click that one? Yeah, okay. Got a comment from El Yazine. Jewelry Bonnie is in Whole Cake Island, and make the Straw Hats older, younger to help them escape. And do you think that someone from the Revolutionary Army is undercover like Stussy? I think the Revolutionary Army is acting right now. If there was any undercover members in Whole Cake Island for the Revolutionaries, which I'm not certain if that would be the case to start off with, then they would be heading to Dragon right now, I would imagine. As for Jewelry Bonnie being in Whole Cake Island, I think we would have seen her if she was already there. I mean, I guess she could arrive, but I don't think changing their ages at this point would be beneficial, since they're in the prime of their life. You either make them children so that they can't defend themselves, or you make them older so they can't defend themselves, and I don't think that would be an effective disguise, in my opinion. But it could be, as with most things. Got a comment from MC. Does any other Yonko will appear in this arc? Okay, so yeah, a lot of people are making a big deal about for the 20th anniversary on July 20th, there's supposed to be this big reveal. And I'm not certain exactly what it is, but this guy wonders if another Yonko will appear. Judging by the events in the manga, well, I think the actual 20th anniversary falls on the day in the anime, so it might be something incredibly special with the anime. And I think that there will be a lot of tidbits and extra like art and stuff in the next chapter. Some people even wondered if the One Piece would get more actual pages in the next chapter, which would be really, really crazy. But as for the actual events, I don't think a Yonko will appear, but I mean, it could be. I think that it will be a fantastic chapter, though. Even just based on what we already expect, given that the tower is falling down, and this is literally like the crucial turning point where it can we'll really get to see how it may be possible for the Straw Hats to get out of this situation. I should put it that way. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I think I've addressed everything so far that I need to. All the donations and stuff like that. Hold on, let me check my email again. But I think we wrapped this stream for a good hour and a half or so, and you guys tired me the fuck out. But yeah, it was fun. I appreciate talking to everyone, and I hope to do this more. I really do. If it's only for an hour or two, hopefully I'll actually set it up previously so that more people can expect to see the stream. I sort of low key addressed this on Twitter, but didn't give anybody a time but yeah, hopefully we can make this a more regular thing. Honestly, I've been putting it off because introversion, but yeah, definitely really cool. Appreciate everyone for stopping by, and hopefully we can do this again soon once I figure out how to actually turn off the stream. There we go.